I'm Sam. I'm the co-founder of Kingdom Impact Lab, and I have developed a concept called Radical Stewardship, which I want to explain to you in this video. So first of all, Radical Stewardship, what is it and what does it mean? So the concept of Radical Stewardship is about having the intentional practice of managing everything that God has entrusted to us for the flourishing of others and to glorify God. And specifically, I am focusing on doing this through business. And the reason is because business has the largest amount of influence that you can have. The workplace is a fertile place to plant seeds, and I suppose more accurately, in terms of me, is that I spent close to 10 years working as a copywriter, a direct response copywriter, which basically everything that I did, whether it was writing emails, sales letters, campaigns, whatever it is, a follow-up sequence to people, the only intention was to get them to take the next step in a predetermined sequence in order to get them to purchase, and then that's what was valued in my area of expertise, and that's what I did for a long time. And working as a copywriter, as a freelance copywriter with clients in a whole variety of industries, and getting some of them really good results, not getting others really good results. In general, with the long-term clients that I work with, I did make some of them a substantial amount of money and a huge return on their investment in their service. But there was something that was just off about the whole process, about the whole thing. And as I gained more experience in my craft, and I applied direct response copywriting to marketing and to sales and to all other aspects of the business, I started to realize that the only role that I had within a company when I came in as a contractor was simply to make them money at the expense of everything else. The only objective was to make them money. If I did not make them enough money, then my performance was rated negatively, which was detrimental to my ongoing retainer-based arrangement with them. The defining moment actually for me, or the big wake-up moment for me, was I was working with one client. They paid I won't go into the details, but I guaranteed them a 6x return on their investment per month on average, factoring in some months are high, some months are low. It's kind of all out of your control. And what I did was, I think over the course of 6, 7, 8, 9 months, I think my return on investment was substantially higher than what I promised them. Some months was 10x what they paid me in terms of revenue, others were like 6. On average, it was substantially higher than what I promised. And then one day I got a message from the founder on Slack, which was unexpected, out of the blue, saying they terminated my contract at the end of the month. And when I inquired about it and sort of mentioned to them, well, kind of, this is what I promised you, this is the results that you're getting, it's higher than what I promised you, what's wrong with the performance? And he said that, look, it's just a business decision. The reason is because on average it takes about 3 to 6 months from the initial contact with a customer or client in order to move them towards making the sale. And so what this means is that 3 months ago we did not convert as many sales calls, and now the revenue in the company is getting lower, and we need to get rid of you because you're a additional cost. You're not part of the core team, and it's much easier to bring back a contractor than it is with permanent staff, because permanent staff, if you let them go, they're going to go and find something else and they may not come back, which means all the time, energy, effort that you've invested into their development and training them and bringing, into performing the role within your company is kind of lost. From that standpoint, you can say, well, okay, fair enough. But then if you actually dig into this a little bit more, and this was the eye-opener for me. So I think this happened in around May. I think it was around my birthday. I think it was around my birthday. The details don't matter. It was because the sales team, and this is virtually a direct paraphrase of what they said to me, a direct quote that I'm trying to paraphrase because it's been a while since I've recalled this and I remember it. But essentially, I was told that the sales team did not convert as many of the book calls that I made them, because Christmas was approaching and everyone in December is looking forward to Christmas, and so the performance of the sales team dropped. There was no issue with my service, no issue with what I was doing. I was over delivering. There was no issue with the quality of the leads that I gave them. It was because sales team were in quote Christmas mode, and as a result of that experience, I found myself suddenly without my main client that I had committed all of my time, energy and effort to, actually at the neglect of bringing other clients to me. So in that instance, that was the realization for me that, well, that's not really fair on me, because I've over-delivered, I've done everything I'm supposed to do, yet I'm suffering the consequences of other people's actions who may not have been as diligent as I was at the time. And bearing in mind that while working with this client, I had a newborn son at the time, and the chaos and everything there, so it put me into a bit of a sticky situation as a result of the actions of other people. And that was when I realised that my contributions to this company was viewed nothing more than how much money they make on a spreadsheet at the end of the month. Nothing to do with me as a person, nothing to do with me or any of the additional things that I did for the company. They did not care in the slightest about the times when they messaged me at the last minute to have a call, and I had to reschedule and plan everything around their timing. They didn't care about all of the time and effort I put into once with a campaign that I wanted to do before I went on holiday, and then at the very last minute, just before I'm about to leave the holiday, only then do they look at it, and then I have to try to resolve that issue, which actually partially ruined my holiday because I had to focus on work instead of relaxing. None of that mattered. The only thing that mattered was looking at the numbers on the spreadsheet at the end of the quarter, or towards the end of the quarter, or the end of the month, or whatever it was, and realizing that, okay, this is the finances of the company, where can we cut costs? Okay, Sam, he's a big cost, we can get rid of him. And that's what it was. And then that's what kind of led me onto the journey to realizing, well, the reason they're treating me like this is because I'm treating other people like this as well. I viewed the client as just a way to get paid, basically. I had no interest in what they did in their business. They were involved in Pilates, and the reality of the situation is I knew nothing about Pilates at all. I just knew how to sell their high ticket offer, and I had no care, no interest in it. I tried to get interested in it, but I just couldn't. There was no passion or no desire or nothing with it. So naturally, the way that I treated the client, they treated me back, and I didn't like it. And that started me on this entire journey of trying to find something better. And that's over what's it been now, 18 months of research and study and prayer and reflection and a whole bunch of testing things and trying things that didn't work and hitting dead ends and brick walls, and which has been tough to say the least. I have finally come upon the concept of radical stewardship. I wouldn't necessarily say that I came up with it. It's sort of an idea that's just been downloaded into my mind, and this is what I want to do. And so what my vision is for radical stewardship is to, first of all, is to build a community of other Christian entrepreneurs who want to use their business as a way to help uplift others, to use their business as a way to contribute to the flourishing of others, as a way to build a profitable business. So as your business grows, the way that you can give back and do things and operate out of sacrificial love, being generous, doing things that glorify God and benefit the recipients of your business in ways that is not directly related to your offer, or more specifically, that you can benefit people through your business in ways that do not directly align with your bottom line. And that's the concept that's where the concept of radical stewardship came in. Because honestly, after being involved in copywriting, marketing for close to 10 years, I'm not sure the exact date I got involved with it. It's something that just drives me insane. And the thing that drives me insane the most is that everything is based on, it's extraction based. Everything that we do in business by default is extraction based. We call the people that associate with our business leads, prospects, customers, and a whole bunch of other things, followers, subscribers. And what that does is the label and the terms that you use relegate the individual human, the image bearer, the recipient, down to something that fits into your campaign, your funnel, where the primary objective of what you're doing is to move someone from a lead or from someone you've never interacted with to have a conversation down a predetermined pipeline in order to get them to give you money, which is essentially what most people do in business. And that to me is not the right way to do it. We, by default, have a business. We build a business in order to make profit to serve our own selfish needs. I can hold my hands up there because with my marketing agency, which I had I was a copywriter for several years, and then thought, hey, let's scale this up so I can make more money. And then I tried to build a marketing agency, which was a complete disaster. I'm going to add, because I had experience in sales and marketing and I knew what to do there, but I had no experience in the rest of the parts of the business, which ultimately led me to neglect them, which then very recently led us to having a massive tax bill as a result of the company made zero profit. It cost us so much money because I put my savings into trying to get the business to work, and now we're faced with a massive tax bill because we didn't record certain expenses in the right way, and therefore the tax office does not view them as deductible expenses. And my former marketing agency was built entirely to make money, so I can enhance the quality of my lifestyle and give me more freedom. And so the actual opposite happened to that, and it continues to be the gift that keeps on giving in terms of lessons that I have to learn from doing things the wrong way. And I need to add here that I didn't go into building the marketing agency to be selfish. To start off with, I genuinely wanted to help people, as most of us do. The problem was that everything that I'd learned about business and marketing and copywriting and sales was all focused on making sales. It was all focused on making money, a return on investment. That's how you sell things, because you have to focus specifically on, well, what am I going to get from it? And having a tangible return on investment of the cost you pay for something is something that people understand. And if you've got the proof in the case studies, that's what people are going to buy it. Because they want that return on investment too. That's how they justify the expense, that's how they justify an investment. But of course, that's what dominates sales and marketing, and that's what dominates the conventional way of doing business. And so anyone like me that does not have a background in business, I've had to try to figure it out myself, which has been very, very difficult with especially with 2 young kids, and no one really to help or support me, or no network or community of people that can provide the help that I need. It's sort of figuring things out, and I know there's a lot of people out there like that you've identified what your calling is and you want to try and get it out and you want to try and help people and all of these things through your business. But again, the reality is that what you're doing is you're looking at what other people are doing, or you're reading and studying and training and investing in coaching, and everyone is all based, they've all been trained on the same thing, which is businesses, the primary function of your business is to make money, to make an ROI, and profit first and all of these things. And so all of this is being instilled within us, and that's what's shaping our mindset. It's this culture that business is extraction based, as that's the only way of doing it. And by default, because we don't know any different, that's the way that we do things. And then we inadvertently and subconsciously treat other people as a means to get what we want, which is we want money for our business. We want our business to operate, we want to do whatever it is in our business. The other person and their needs and how we can serve them becomes secondary to what we can get from the interaction. And all of this happens subconsciously without our awareness of it happening, because that's what we've been trained on in the culture, and that's what we've learned, and that's what we've done. And that is that's basically what I'm calling here extraction-based marketing, extraction-based business. And like I said, this is pretty much what I did for several years. So I know what it is, I've been through it, and I'm aware of the consequences that happened to me personally, the consequences that happened to clients I work with as a result of it, and more importantly, the people who invested in high-ticket, expensive programs that I used to sell. The one client I had, he had I forget the details now, and different currencies and things, but I think it was about a $5,000 coaching program. And one offer they had was a $10,000 program, and these are what I used to sell. I used to get book calls for it, so the sales team could then sell them on. Well, my objective was to get as many people as I possibly could to show interest to book a call, to take that step to book a call, and the sales team did the rest. Sometimes I'd help in the follow-up. But I'm also aware of how many times that I bought a program or training or coaching or consulting or whatever it is in my business, believing the marketing and the things that they told me about what I'm going to get and how I'm going to get it. To get caught up in the excitement on a sales call by a professional whose job it is to make sales, incentivized by their commission that they're going to receive. And then for me to make the sale, and for me to feel excited for the first few days, and then for that excitement to drop off, and then for me to move on to the next thing, and for me to get pretty much zero value from the thousands of dollars that I've just invested into something in order to get the outcome that they promised. But actually, I was not their ideal target audience. And a few questions from the representative or the sales team or whoever you want to call it that I spoke to about it when I booked a call would have easily determined that I'm not the right fit, because, well, I was essentially, my marketing agency was a startup by someone that did not have a clue about how to run a business. I knew how to run campaigns and marketing and get book calls and things, but I didn't know about the ins and outs of doing business. Where this offer here that I signed up for was for established businesses. Well, I thought I was an established business because I was incorporated, but the reality is I wasn't. And as time tells, that it certainly exposed all the areas that I did not understand. But yet I was not qualified for that offer, and they could have easily found that out if they'd have asked me a few questions. But they didn't, because they wanted to make the sale, and I was an enthusiastic buyer because I bought into the promise that they had, thinking that I was investing into my business. I didn't get the value from it. And then the worst part about it is that I later found out 2 years later, 3 years later, two and a half years later, that because we recorded the expenses in the wrong way, due to a whole variety of reasons that are completely outside of our control, and recording expenses in the wrong way after taking the advice of someone at the bank and the accountant, who now backtracks of what they said because it's our fault, of course. The money that I invested in these training programs in the past does not count as a deductible expense, which contributes to a massive tax bill that we've got, which I'm telling you this story here not to have a victim mindset, because everything that I've gone through with this is there's lessons to be learned, right? I'm going to learn a lot of things from it. You've got to learn things the hard way through experience. You've got to make mistakes in order to know what they are and to avoid it. But I'm sharing that with my example because if that's what happened to me, how many people did the same situation play out for that I would have got to book calls or make sales of high ticket offers through the way that I operated my marketing service for clients? With one client, the client with his $5,000 offer, I think on average per month we were making, a normal month without a campaign, maybe 8 to 10 sales. I think we were making from 30 to 40 book calls during the campaigns. I think during one campaign, I can't remember the details, but the client's testimonial says that in 1 month, some made us $250,000 in a single month, and this was from a big campaign that we did. Well, I can't remember the exact details of it, but how many people would have signed up for it, and what percentage of those people would have bought the offer, but they were not qualified, but because I was incentivized by my own selfish needs to make the client as much money as possible to justify a retainer fee from them. And then the sales team, who, yes, they genuinely believe in the offer that they're selling, but equally they also have to pay the bills and maintain their lifestyle, and many of them have kids and families. So they're incentivized to make the sale, especially if someone comes onto the call enthusiastic, in order to close a quick sale to make their commission. It was my responsibility through the emails and designing the campaigns and everything, so that when people did show up to a call, that they did have enthusiasm because I'd sold them on the vision of what they can become by investing in this product. And I showed them indirectly all the money they'll make and all of the prestige they'll have and all of these things through clever copywriting tactics and things. So people would show up to a call enthusiastic and eager to buy. The sales team would then convert them into a sale pretty quickly and easily. And if someone comes to you saying, hey, I'm very interested in this offer, I want to buy it, and you know that you're getting your 20% commission on it or whatever it is that you get, you're thinking, I can close this sale here with a few follow-ups, sell a $5,000 offer, get my $1,000 commission pretty easily. But again, how many of them people that were like me, that you buy into it, into what you can become, what you can do, only then to find later that, well, actually it's not qualified for me. And then at some point in the future, as a result of that purchase, something negative might happen financially just in the same way that it happened to me. And the reality here is that I don't know how many people, but from a probabilistic standpoint, statistically, it's probably a fair few. If I made this one client well over $1 million in additional sales, just work out the math on that of how many people would have signed up, and it's a lot of people. And then the worst part about this whole perspective, when I view it through this lens here, is that this client, their monthly expenses back then were, I'm trying to recall, it was around $300,000 to $330,000 per month was their expenses, and which means that every month they had to make $300,000. And so if we were to just calculate that out just very, very quickly, the sale of a $5,000 offer, that's sort of like, they need to make between 60 to 66 sales per month just to cover the costs of their expenses. And so one person signing up for their offer is just such a small percentage of their monthly revenue, and an even smaller amount of their annual revenue, that it's kind of the equivalent of someone who might be making a normal salary. It's the equivalent of like a few dollars kind of thing. It's something that, if you're making a comfortable salary and something costs $5-10, it's nothing. It's a small amount. And that's the same way that the business would view one of these people signing up to their $5,000 offer. And if they don't get value from it, and they don't use it, and they're not qualified for it, and it could cause financial problems for them, or a whole bunch of other problems, not directly but indirectly as a result of that purchase. That's where the problem kind of lies, and it's that realization that makes me want to do things different. And there is a better way of doing it, and it's through the concept of radical stewardship, and that is to, instead of viewing all of these people associated with your business as a way to make you more money, to make the business more money, so you can have a bigger house or a bigger holiday or a nicer car or whatever it is, or worse, just so you can track your progress of how much money you have in the bank, and then you think you're successful based on how much or how little you have in your bank, which is even worse, because of a whole bunch of problems that causes later in life, or a little bit down the road of when you start doing it. And I speak on authority because I've been there and I've done that, and it's something that we do subconsciously. So that's basically the background of where I am, what I'm doing, and why radical stewardship exists, in order to fight back against the extraction-based business that is just everywhere around us. And so what my vision is to find a group of other like-minded people who align with the concept of radical stewardship, Christian entrepreneurs, typically Christian entrepreneurs in the service-based industry, and because that's where my background lies, who believe that their business is something to steward rather than extract from, and they want to build a profitable business through stewardship rather than just copying what everybody else does and just using their business to enrich themselves. And the way that it works is that the stewardship you would view your business through the lens of stewardship, that this business has been entrusted to me by God, and I am going to use it to uplift others, for the flourishing of others, and I'm going to operate on sacrificial love. I'm going to operate from the perspective of service through marketing, to the people that I'm associated with the business, either people that are on the team, either people that are associated with your business through your marketing, your existing clients, everyone there. It's going to be stewardship of your resources, how to allocate your resources to have the biggest impact. It's going to be how to steward your time, your money, and a whole opportunities would be another one, and a whole bunch of other things. And the reality of doing that is that you're going to, first of all, from the perspective of operating a business, if you operate your business through the lens of radical stewardship and you actually apply it, I can tell you now that you will build a business that you love. You will find joy in the business and in the work that you do. You will feel happy with what you're doing at work and through business. Why is this important? Well, one thing that's pretty common is that maybe when you start a business, in the early stages when you're trying to hit the first or the next level kind of thing, that you have that excitement, you have that passion, you have that motivation, you have that why deep within you. But then when you reach a certain level in your business, and that level is subjective, where things become comfortable, you no longer then have the passion and motivation to push further and to pursue things, and you get comfortable and you fall into routines. Not everyone does, but some people do. And maybe then work becomes routine, business becomes routine. What you once loved, you no longer have that passion for. Well, if you view everything that you do in your business as through the lens of stewardship, everything you do is planted seeds. But also, you're doing things for the benefit of others, and we as humans, we find more enjoyment in giving than we do receiving. It's better to give than it is to receive. There's a whole bunch of things in Proverbs saying things like that. I can't quote the scripture, but that's essentially what it is. And if you build your business with the intention of stewarding what you have to uplift them for the flourishing of others, you are directly contributing to people's lives. You're touching people's lives. And because your business has a bigger influence, you're going to be able to touch people's lives at scale. Some people, they're only able to touch lives within a small circle and have an impact on someone within their immediate vicinity. Through business, especially if you've got a larger business, your opportunities to touch people's lives, to make a real difference, is just, it's massive, it's exponentially bigger. And because of that, you kind of have an obligation to do it if you want to use your business to glorify God and to actually uplift others and to help people. You know, a lot of people get into the service industry because they identify that they have a skill or a passion or something that they like, or you may identify what your calling is, and then a lot of people would genuinely say, I want to help people. I want to help people get results. You know, a lot of people want to become a doctor because they, quote, want to help people. Other people want to become doctors for the money. But genuinely, people want to help each other. If you use your business to help other people, and not just in a way where it's going to enrich you or move it close to a sale, you help people whether they become a client or not, through your content, through your relationships, through your actions, whatever it is, you're going to be much happier. The people associated with your business are going to be much happier. You're going to have more joy, more passion. You're going to have deeper relationships with the people within your team, with your partners, with the people that you interact with. It's just a win-win for everyone. And the best part? Well, the best part is that if you operate like this, you're going to deepen relationships with people. You're going to have stronger connections with people. People are going to like you. People are going to pay attention to you. People are going to be interested in what you do. You're going to stand out. You're going to be different because you are different and you're doing things differently. But what does that lead to? Well, if you're different and you stand out and people are talking about you, you've got more eyes on the business and your brand. If you have deeper relationships and connections and people like you and what they do, well, as the saying goes, people buy from those they know, like, and trust. And if you focus on viewing relationships in your business as a way, as something to steward over the long term, rather than the immediate transaction and what you can get in that moment, well, if you build a system where you can focus on nurturing a relationship and communicating and talking to people and maintaining relationships over years and decades, instead of constantly chasing the next, don't you think that your retention is going to increase? Don't you think that you're going to get more referrals? Don't you think you're going to get more introductions? That's the byproduct of it. By applying radical stewardship, you will find more joy, passion, and meaning in the work that you do. You will directly uplift, help, impact, and touch countless lives. You'll be planting seeds in avenues and fields and whatever it is that you can only begin to imagine, because your potential is exponentially bigger than an individual, because through your business you have more reach. You're using your business for good, and you will be increasing profit in your business in a sustainable way, because you're building stronger relationships. Stronger relationships, deeper connection, more unity leads to higher retention. More people are going to continue to work with you for longer periods of time. The people that are currently working with you and the people in the future that will work with you, because of the relationships, will be more of a joy to work with overall than a burden. And you'll get more introductions, referrals as a byproduct. It's just a win-win for everyone. And my dream is to inspire more people to adopt this philosophy and for us to live it out, so that we are able to become models, inspirations to other people to go and do the same. For me personally, it's at this season in my life and business, 2 young kids, trying to build this business, trying to learn how to do things, trying to make my vision a reality. I have to accept the fact that at this season, I have relatively little influence, I have relatively little reach. I'm in the very early stages of what I'm doing. I'm basically a startup in my second business. And my dream is to be able to build a community where we can become models and inspiration and show people how to live through radical stewardship, to provide a practical way to do it, so we can steward our businesses practically for the flourishing of others, to glorify God. And so I can inspire someone who does have a big business, who they are making 10 million plus a year. They do have 1 million people associated with their business and brand. For them to go and do the same. Because it's okay for me to use what little I currently have in order to try to make a difference, to do this, to contribute to whatever it is. But it's just a small drop in the ocean. And I want to find that person and to inspire that person who has the big business, who has the money, whatever it is, who can go and have an exponentially bigger impact than me. And that's my why for doing it, so I can plant these seeds and inspire others to do the same. This video's gone on a long time. That's all. See you next time.